Greetings. Before I tell this story, I would ask you to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stories like this. And now we begin our story.
The shattering news and the night of betrayal. Cormac sat frozen in the sterile white room, the weight of the words sinking into his chest with unrelenting heaviness. Maeve, his vibrant, ever-strong mother, had just received a diagnosis that shattered his world: breast cancer. The doctor's calm voice contrasted sharply with the storm roaring inside him. Time seemed to halt as Cormac struggled to grasp the reality. Moments earlier, Maeve had been her usual radiant self, laughing with Sinead, his younger sister, over a simple, everyday joke. Now, everything changed in an instant, and the fear he'd suppressed emerged like a tidal wave threatening to drown him. Outside the hospital walls, the city's pulse carried on indifferently, oblivious to the pain engulfing a family inside. Cormac's mind reeled, his thoughts bouncing chaotically between hope and despair. He knew he had to stay strong, but the fragility of life had never been so evident. Maeve's hand in his felt thin and fragile, her own silent bravery a beacon he clung to. His fingers tightened around hers, unwilling to let go of the one thing still familiar and real amid the terrifying unknown. Sinead's quiet sobs echoed softly beside him, their shared grief knitting a bond tighter than ever before. Cormac's plans for the evening revolved around confiding in Ogun, his lifelong friend who had been his rock through all of life's highs and lows. The thought of revealing the news to Ogun was both a comfort and a necessity. He needed someone who could understand, someone who would not judge or turn away. Yet, as he tried to summon the strength to do so, a gnawing unease crept in. Something about the day felt off, an undercurrent disrupting the fragile calm he tried to maintain. His phone buzzed with messages, but none from the person he hoped to hear from most: Bryony, his girlfriend. The local bar was dim and smoky, a place Cormac and Bryony had frequented together on lighter evenings. Ronan, the bartender, polished glasses behind the counter, his keen eyes taking in the murmurs and laughter that filled the air. To anyone else, the scene was ordinary, but for Cormac, it would mark a pivot point in his already fractured world. With each step that brought him closer to the bar, his heart pounded with a painful mix of anticipation and dread. The moment he spotted Bryony across the room, a cold weight settled in his gut. She was leaning close to a stranger, her laughter unrestrained, and her eyes sparkling with a stranger's charm. Unable to believe what he was seeing, Cormac's feet rooted him in place. The betrayal was not just about the act itself, but the timing. How Bryony could be so detached on a day when his mother's fate hung in the balance. Ronan's silent observation added an eerie layer to the scene. The bartender's knowing gaze suggested that faith and infidelity often collide in this place where secrets are spilled alongside drinks. The stranger's smile was arrogant, confident, and oblivious to the storm brewing in Cormac's heart. The woman Cormac thought he knew was whispering promises meant for another ear, fracturing the foundation of trust he had so carefully built. Heart pounding, Cormac stumbled back, the room around him spinning in a blur of hurt and disbelief. It was then that Fionn, a mutual friend who often frequented the same bar, approached with cautious concern etched in her expression. Her voice was gentle but firm as she hesitated before revealing what she had overheard, the confession of Bryony's intentions that went beyond innocent flirting. Effion's words hit Cormac like a cold slap, a confirmation of the worst fears he tried to deny. The revelation stabbed him deeper than any blow, unraveling the painful irony that as his family faced a battle for life, his own relationship crumbled silently in the shadows. Back outside, the cool night air was a stark contrast to the burning emotions inside him. Cormac's breath fogged in the chill as he wrestled with swirling thoughts of betrayal, love, and loyalty. The world felt unrecognizable, a cruel twist threading through the fabric of his day. Sinead's voice on his phone was a fragile lifeline, a reminder of the family he had to hold together even as parts of his heart fractured. Each step away from the bar was heavy with the knowledge that nothing would be the same again. The warmth of Bryony's touch that he once cherished was replaced by the bitter cold of truth. Days blurred into nights as Cormac navigated the uneven terrain of his grief and anger. Maeve's diagnosis remained an unspoken shadow over every conversation, every silent glance shared with Sinead and Ogun. Through it all, he found moments of fragile solace in Ogun's steady presence, a calming force amidst chaos. Their conversations, filled with quiet strength and unguarded honesty, were the only shield against the unraveling of Cormac's spirit. Yet the memories of that night at the bar lingered, a persistent ache reminding him of the fragility of trust and the cost of betrayal. Memories of Maeve's radiant smile before the diagnosis became a beacon of hope, a reminder of the resilience that would be necessary in the difficult days ahead. Cormac promised himself to face the coming battles with the courage his mother showed, even as his own heart struggled to mend the fractures left by Bryony's betrayal. The support from Effion and Ogun slowly began to stitch together a new reality, one where loyalty and truth would be the foundation for healing. In the quiet moments alone, Cormac allowed himself the space to mourn not only for Maeve's diagnosis, but for the love he thought was unbreakable. As the first chapter of this painful journey closed, a fragile resolve began to form within Cormac. The shattering news had changed everything, revealing dark truths and new challenges. Yet, among the ruins of trust and the heavy fog of fear, a spark of determination flickered. The next steps would be fraught with uncertainty, but he knew he was not alone. With Maeve's strength, Sinead's love, Ogun's loyalty, and Effion's unwavering support, Cormac prepared to face the difficult path ahead, ready to uncover the answers and reclaim his broken world. The night of betrayal was only the beginning of a story that demanded courage, truth, and the hope of redemption, unraveling truths and support from unexpected places. The weight of the day pressed heavily on Cormac's shoulders, each moment fraught with a sharp ache that seemed to throb with every breath. His mother, Maeve, had just received the devastating diagnosis of breast cancer, a blow that shattered the fragile semblance of normality in their lives. Yet amid this family turmoil, a betrayal stung deeper than any illness. That same day, Cormac discovered Bryony, his girlfriend, finding solace in the arms of another woman at the local bar. The cruel twist wasn't just the act itself, but the indifference she displayed when confronted, as if Maeve's pain meant nothing to her. This revelation plunged Cormac into a vortex of confusion and heartbreak. Sitting across from him at the worn wooden table in the modest kitchen, Sinead's sisterly concern was palpable. She reached out, her hand steadying his trembling fingers. "We'll get through this. You're not alone," she assured him, her voice a balm to his frayed nerves. Sinead had always been the quieter strength in their family, the one who listened and acted without judgment. Her presence was a reminder that even in the darkest times, there could be light. Together they began to sort through the fragmented pieces of the day, seeking answers about Bryony's sudden detachment and strange behavior. Meanwhile, Ioan, Cormac's best friend, paced anxiously outside the bar, gathering his thoughts before entering the scene. Having known Bryony's duplicity for some time, Owen wasn't surprised by the scandal, but witnessing the consequences on Cormac's face was a blow even he hadn't anticipated. He vowed silently to stand by his friend, ready to lend support through whatever storm was to come. The trio's bond, forged in years of shared history and loyalty, was about to be tested by a cruel crossroad. Yet, even in the midst of chaos, there was a seed of resilience sprouting. The bar itself became an unexpected stage for confrontation. Ronan, the bartender and witness to the entire incident, provided a crucial piece of the puzzle. His sharp eyes had caught Bryony's flirtatious glances before she slipped away with the other woman. She didn't even look back when she left, Ronan revealed, eyebrows knitted in disbelief. His account cemented the unpleasant truth that Bryony's actions were not a moment of weakness, but a calculated step away from their relationship. The bar's dim lights and muffled music bore silent testimony to a fracture growing wider by the minute. Fionn, a close friend with an empathetic soul and a keen intellect, became the unexpected ally in unraveling the truth. She approached the situation with gentle tenacity, carefully piecing together messages, timestamps, and subtle clues others might have overlooked. Her help was invaluable in illuminating the shadowed corners of Bryony's deceit. Effion's unwavering support gave Cormac a renewed sense of agency, a feeling that he could reclaim some control over his narrative. As they worked late into the evening, the atmosphere thickened with a mix of frustration and hope. Beyond the immediate drama, Maeve's illness cast a poignant backdrop to these revelations. Cormac felt her struggle as a silent, constant pulse driving his emotions: anger, fear, and a fierce determination to protect whatever remnants of family unity remained. Maeve, ever dignified despite her diagnosis, had always been a beacon of strength. Her vulnerability now magnified the pain of Bryony's betrayal, intertwining personal heartbreak with the shadow of mortality. Night after night, Cormac grappled with these conflicting feelings, finding solace only in the quiet moments shared with Sinead and Fionn. As they amassed evidence and pieced together timelines, the painful reality of Bryony's actions became undeniable. Cormac's heartbreak was not just about lost love, but a profound rupture in trust and shared dreams. Conversations with Sinead revealed layers of Bryony's complex persona, charming, yet fundamentally self-absorbed. She couldn't face the responsibility, Sinead observed sharply. Her insight cut through denial, forcing Cormac to confront harsh truths with clarity. It was a transformation that demanded courage and acceptance in equal measure. Through this tumult, Eogan's relentless optimism acted as a glue, reminding Cormac of life beyond despair. "You're stronger than you realize," he insisted, pushing him outside the circle of pain. Together, they rekindled old passions and envisioned new possibilities, keeping the spirit of perseverance alive. Ogan's loyalty shone brightest when Cormac's confidence faltered, a testament to the power of true friendship amid adversity. Their bond deepened, enriched by shared struggle and unwavering support. Throughout late nights filled with heavy conversations and gentle reassurances, the trio's interactions fostered a profound emotional growth. Sinead's quiet resilience, Fionn's thoughtful resourcefulness, and Eowyn's steadfast strength coalesced into an unbreakable alliance. This collective fortitude enveloped Cormac, fortifying him against the sorrow that threatened to consume. In facing the darkness together, they redefined what it meant to be family and friends, a chosen support system bound by experience and love. Maeve's fight added an even deeper dimension to their journey. Every hospital visit, every tense conversation about treatment options deepened the emotional texture of their shared reality. Cormac discovered new facets of empathy and patience, learning to balance his own pain with his mother's needs. It was a delicate dance of vulnerability and strength, one that underscored the fragile beauty of life and the enduring power of connection. In this way, illness became a catalyst for growth, not just suffering. As layers of deception unraveled, Cormac also embraced the bittersweet lessons embedded in loss. The betrayal by Bryony, though unbearably painful, illuminated the importance of authenticity and self-respect. He realized that moving forward required forgiveness, not for Bryony's sake, but his own. This internal clarity began to kindle a tentative hope, a belief that healing was possible even after profound wounds. It was a turning point, marked by determination to reclaim his narrative and sense of worth. The days that followed brought more difficult conversations, with Maeve about the future, with Sinead about family dynamics, and with Fionn about friendship and trust. Each interaction added depth to Cormac's evolving perspective, weaving a tapestry of resilience threaded with compassion. Together, they navigated the uncertain waters of illness, heartbreak, and redemption. Their united front offered comfort and strength, proving that even in the bleakest moments, human connection can light a path forward. As the investigation into Bryony's actions reached its climax, the group acknowledged the complexities that lay beneath surface appearances. People are multidimensional, motives often murky. Yet Cormac refused to let bitterness poison his outlook. Instead, he chose to focus on the enduring love from those who mattered most, his family and friends who stood unwavering at his side. This choice laid the foundation for rebuilding trust and creating a new beginning from the wreckage of betrayal. With resolve hardening in his heart, Cormac prepared to face the next phase of their shared journey. The challenges ahead, both with Maeve's health and his personal life, were daunting. But now, fortified by the loyalty and empathy of Sinead, Effion, and Ogen, he felt a courage he had not known before. Together they would confront uncertainty and pain, transforming adversity into opportunity. The path was still steep and winding, but the company was steady and true, a source of hope and strength amid swirling doubts. As night slowly surrendered to dawn, a quiet sense of calm soaked into the atmosphere. The raw edges of heartbreak softened, giving way to a contemplative stillness filled with tentative promise. Cormac's story was far from over. The difficult truths had been unveiled, the hardest conversations initiated. Now, with the support of those who loved him most, he took his first steps toward healing, embracing whatever the future might hold. And in that fragile moment, hope flickered bright, whispering of resilience and renewal yet to come. Healing, forgiveness, and moving forward. Cormac stood at the threshold of his mother's room, the sterile scent of antiseptics mingling with the faint warmth of her presence. Maeve's eyes, once lively and full of untamed dreams, now flickered with a fragile determination. The diagnosis of breast cancer had pierced their family's fabric, yet her courage wove threads of hope where despair threatened to take hold. Cormac's heart ached, not only for Maeve's battle but for the wounds that opened inside him, wrought both by fate and by a betrayal too raw to ignore. The night his world shattered played on a loop in his mind. That evening in the bar, when Maeve's devastating news was still fresh, Cormac thought finding solace would be as simple as a quiet drink. Instead, Bryony, who was supposed to be his rock, became a stranger draped over another man's shoulder. Ronan, the patient bartender who often lent more than just drinks, watched helplessly as the truth unfolded. His eyes caught Cormac's in silence, conveying an unspoken understanding of loss and the bitter sting of unfaithfulness. In the days that followed, the weight of Bryony's betrayal pressed heavily on Cormac, threatening to drown him. Yet he was not alone. Yogan, his steadfast friend, appeared as a lighthouse amid the turbulent storm. With a reassuring smile and an unshakable presence, Owen reminded Cormac of the strength lingering beneath the surface. "You are more than what appears broken," he said, his voice steady as the earth beneath their feet, urging Cormac to confront pain with honesty and courage. Sinead, his sister, embraced the role of protector with fierce love. Her fierce determination to keep their family united amid the chaos reflected the best parts of their upbringing. She refused to let Maeve's courage be overshadowed by sadness or division. Through whispered words and shared tears, Sinead helped Cormac navigate the treacherous landscape of grief and anger. She challenged him to see beyond immediate hurt, to trust in healing even when the path seemed obscured by shadow. Then there was Effion, a luminous light piercing through the fog of uncertainty. Her friendship had begun long before the storm, but it was in this crucible of hardship that her true strength emerged. Armed with compassion and a keen sense for honesty, Fionn helped Cormac piece together the events of that dreadful night. Her discovery of Bryony's intentions was meticulous, revealing layers of deception that Cormac had been too heartbroken to discern. "You deserve truth, no matter how painful," she vowed, her loyalty unwavering as she stood by him through confrontation and heartbreak. As Maeve embarked on her treatment journey, undergoing chemotherapy sessions that seemed endless and draining, Cormac witnessed a different kind of battle. His mother's spirit, though battered, refused to yield. In the quiet moments following her appointments, she shared stories of resilience from women who had faced similar storms. These tales kindled in Cormac a quiet hope. He saw in Maeve's eyes a fire that no illness could extinguish, the unyielding desire to live and to love fiercely despite the shadows looming large. Cormac's own healing, however, proved more complex. The pain of Bryony's betrayal clashed with the urgency of his mother's illness. Forgiveness was an elusive concept, tangled with a desperate need for self-respect. Through late-night conversations and heartfelt confessions, Eowyn guided Cormac toward understanding that forgiveness was not a gift to Bryony, but a release for himself. To forgive is to reclaim your peace, he reminded, encouraging Cormac to shed the chains of bitterness that nearly consumed him. Sinead, ever the voice of pragmatism, helped him set boundaries essential for reclaiming self-worth. "You do not owe her your kindness," she asserted, "but you owe yourself the dignity of choosing what you accept." This balance, though difficult, allowed Cormac to see the path forward, not one of denial, but of strength forged through acceptance. Each small step toward letting go of resentment was met with support, as friends and family became pillars encouraging him to stand tall once more. The community around them, too, played a vital role. Neighbors brought meals and flowers, their goodwill interwoven with silent prayers and hopeful glances. Ronan, despite the boundary between bartender and customer, became a quiet confidant. His kindness extended beyond the bar, demonstrating that compassion often blooms in unexpected places. These acts, though seemingly small, stitched a quilt of support wrapping tightly around Cormac and Maeve alike. With time, the haze of pain began to lift, replaced by a tentative lightness. Cormac found himself laughing again, first intermittently, then with growing frequency. The weight of sorrow remained, but was no longer suffocating. Effion's steady friendship blossomed into something deeper, an unexpected balm healing wounds left by Bryony. Together they explored the possibilities of new beginnings, conversations filled with cautious hope and shared dreams unburdened by past shadows. Maeve's battle persisted, her strength inspiring those around her. In her resilience, Cormac discovered a blueprint for recovery, one not defined by denial of pain, but by embracing it as part of life's mosaic. Her fight was not just against illness, but against despair itself. Watching her confront each challenge with grace reinforced the importance of family, forgiveness, and the relentless pursuit of hope. As seasons shifted and the immediate crisis waned, Cormac began to rebuild. Broken pieces of heartbreak were gathered and reshaped into a new narrative, one where betrayal did not dictate fate, nor illness overshadow the capacity to love and live fully. The lessons of that painful chapter forged in him a quiet strength, a resolve to honor Maeve's courage by living with kindness, resilience, and self-respect. The journey ahead remained uncertain, but it was a path freckled with possibility. Cormac knew now that healing required time and patience, not a linear march, but a delicate dance between sorrow and joy, loss and discovery, endings and beginnings. With Eogan, Sinead, and Fionn beside him, each step forward was buoyed by shared understanding and unwavering support. As the family gathered for a quiet evening, their laughter mingling with Maeve's soft smile, Cormac felt a profound sense of peace. The wounds of betrayal still whispered, but they no longer commanded his every thought. Instead, he chose to focus on the promise of tomorrow, on the strength born of forgiveness and the hopeful horizon that stretched out before them. This was not the end, but a beginning, an invitation to embrace life's complexities with grace and courage. In honoring his mother's fight, Cormac embraced his own, ready to face the future with open heart and steady spirit. The story of that painful day had transformed, no longer a burden but a beacon guiding him forward. And so, with the dawn of new understanding illuminating the path, Cormac took a deep breath and stepped into the unfolding story yet to come.